Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a very quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Coinbase. And last time we spoke, guys, Bitcoin was sitting right up in here at about just below 3,600. I told you guys if we didn't break above 3,600, guys, we were very likely coming back down to 34 to 3250. I told you that this was acting, 3,600 was support, started acting as resistance. As soon as we saw it act as resistance, guys, I told you that was a very, very bearish sign. I told you that more than likely we were going to come back down into this zone. And of course, that's exactly what did happen. And of course, now we're sitting at currently at about 3370. We did price did drop down. 3400 was acting as support. Finally, the support broke down, came back up. What was support started acting as resistance just now. So 3400 is now acting as resistance, guys. And again, that's a very, very bearish sign. So we're seeing absolutely no sign of a reversal. We're seeing just continuation of the downtrend. So if we look at this, we can see that we have this descending resistance line that's been in place here since the 29th of November. And we've just been unable to break above that, guys. So this is one thing. If we do break above this, the resistance line here, it'll get my attention. But right now, we're seeing no signs that we're going to do that at all. Coming over here, looking at the volume, we're sitting at about 4.6 billion on the day. That's extremely weak, guys. Very, very weak volume. They're showing that there is no new money entering this market at all. I think people are just have fatigue. They're licking their wounds. They're trying to recover from the money that they've lost in this market, guys, and they're waiting for this thing to bottom out. And with the holidays coming in, guys, I'm expecting, of course, everybody's buying gifts, etc. I don't expect this market to turn around until sometime after Christmas. I really don't. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen. It certainly could happen. But right now, we're just seeing absolutely no sign at all that it's going to. We're looking at this is on the daily chart, looking at the daily exponential moving averages. We can see that prices been unable to break above the 8-day EMA decisively. In other words, we have not had a daily candle open and close above this 8-day EMA, with the exception of one day on November the 29th. This was the only day. But with that one exception, we've not had a daily candle open and close above that 8-day EMA since the 7th of November. So it's been over a month now. So this is just extremely bearish, guys, that we can't even get above this 8-day EMA. That is something to watch, though. If we do break above the 8-day EMA on the daily chart, guys, it'll get my attention for sure. But right now, guys, everything points to the bears being in full control at the moment. Excuse me, guys. All right, looking at shorts, guys. Shorts are still outpacing longs. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to drink water real quick. All right, guys. Sorry about that. So, yeah, shorts are still outpacing longs, guys, by a good margin. We can see that we had this little increase in shorts here. Nothing significant at all. However, if we look at long positions, guys, longs had this massive increase here earlier today. In fact, what is that? In like 4 hours, it increased about, what was that, like 6% or something? Let's see. I think it was about 6% in about 4 hours. Just eyeballing it here, but let's see what the chart says here. Yeah, about a little over, actually. Yeah, right at about 7% actually. So a very decent spike in long positions. If this does continue, if we start to see a closing of the gaps, a closing of the gap between longs and shorts, guys, if that does happen where longs start to catch up to shorts here, very likely we're going to come back down to much, much lower prices. Remember, this is a zero-sum game. Someone to make money, someone has to lose money. So if longs start to stack on the board, market makers are going to drive price down. Now, we knew that market makers wanted to drive, since this drop, since price was up at 6,000, then we had this massive drop, guys. This was not unexpected. I've been talking to you guys for months when price was above 6,000, telling you that market makers and institutional money wants to buy at a much lower price. Telling you that very likely, or not likely, but there was a good possibility that price was going to come down and break below that 6,000, and of course it did. So this whole drop here is not unexpected, and it's not the end of Bitcoin at all. This was extremely expected, guys. This was, we knew that it was just a standoff between, were we going to get new investors entering into the market, or was volume going to remain so low that market makers could drive price down to the price points that they wanted to buy at before institutional money does flood this market. And institutional money is going to flood this market, guys. Make no mistake about it. When that happens, I don't know. As soon as there's a safe on-ramp, ETF approval, some kind of safe on-ramp for institutional money to get in, they will. But until that happens, guys, market makers are driving price down, trying to get in at as low a price as they can, in my opinion. So this is why, until we get a massive spike in volume, guys, I do believe that there's a good chance that we're going to come down to at least a $3,000 Bitcoin, possibly even lower than that, as I've talked about in the past. We're seeing absolutely no sign of strength at all. So price broke down here, came back up, 3,400 started acting as resistance, unable to break above now. If unable to break above that 3,400 as of now. If we're not able to break above 3,400, guys, by the closing of today, I do think that we're very likely coming back down to that $3,000 Bitcoin, especially if we do break below 3,250. So I'm going to be watching this zone between 3,400 and 3,250 very closely. As soon as we decisively break below 3,250, by decisively I mean if we have a 4-hour candle both open and close below 3,250. I think very likely, guys, at that point, we're going to know that very likely we're coming down to at least $3,000, a $3,000 Bitcoin, in my opinion. And of course, this is my buy zone. Between 3,000 and 2,500, I've got buy orders stacked. I think that's a very logical area to stack buy orders between that zone, guys. Now, is that going to be the bottom? It certainly could be, but it doesn't. It may not be. And we're going to have to wait and see how, and I'm sure you guys hate to hear analysts say that. I know that's frustrating to hear, guys, but we're going to have to wait and see how price reacts when we get to that area. If we get a massive bounce, obviously, guys, but if we get, obviously that's going to be a very bullish sign. But if we get price, if price drops down and reacts the way it did right here with this 3,400 to 3,250 support, just kind of meanders sideways here just a little bit, that's going to be an extremely bearish sign, guys. And in my opinion, that's going to tell me that very likely this is going to be a temporary bottom, and we're going to come, and we have not bottomed out yet, and very likely we'd be coming down to lower prices. So let's wait and see how price reacts when we drop down to this $3,000 area. If we hit $3,000, guys, with a massive springboard, clearly that's going to be a very bullish sign. If we hit $3,000, 2,500, and it's just kind of meandering down here with no real reaction at all, I think it'll just be, in my opinion, a matter of time before we're breaking down below that level. And if we do break down below that level, guys, for the benefit of those of you that have not watched my prior videos, and I apologize for those of you that have seen this, but for the benefit of those that haven't, guys, if we zoom all the way out here, looking at the weekly chart, we can see that a very possible bottom, guys, might be this. In fact, let me pull it on the monthly chart. You guys can see a little bit better. There we go. Zooming all the way out here on the monthly chart, guys, it becomes very clear where the support areas are. We have major support right here, major support right here between 3,000 and 2,500. And now it's more difficult to see the current support right here. We have to zoom in here to at least the weekly to see that. But on the monthly chart, we can certainly see that we have a lot of support between 3,000 and 2,500. But if that breaks down, 2,500 breaks down, guys, there's almost no support until we drop all the way down to about 12 to 1,100. And there is a lot of support between 12 and 1100. In fact, again, as I've told you guys many times in the past, I do believe that this would be, in my opinion, this would be an absolute bottom. In fact, I told you this is where, if we ever get down to this area, and I'm not saying we're going to, this is not FUD. I'm not even saying this is probable. I'm just saying this is possible. And if it does get down into this area, guys, I will go in very, very heavy, as I tell you guys all the time. And I know I'm repeating myself, but this is for the benefit for those of you that have not heard me in the past. If we ever see an $1,100, $1,200 Bitcoin, I will feel very comfortable going in very heavy. By very heavy, I mean with 90, 95% of the money that I have set aside to buy Bitcoin, I will deploy in this area. That's what I mean by heavy, guys. This, in my opinion, is an absolute bottom. There's a lot of support right here, and if we do break below 2,500, this is where I do believe that price will head, and this is where I think we'll get a massive springboard off of if we do get, again, if that does break down. Now, I'm not expecting it to. Again, I have buy orders stacked between 3,000 and 2,500, not an insignificant amount either, a decent amount in this area, guys, and I would not be surprised a bit if we came down into this zone, guys, and did a nice reversal between about, if we had a nice wick, hit about 3,000, wick down to about 2,500, maybe even slightly below, nice little strong wick, and then springboarded right off from there. That's a real possibility, guys, and we're just have to, only thing we can do is watch and wait, guys, and have a plan and execute that plan. Whatever you do, do not let emotion get in your do not let emotion cloud your judgment. In other words, know what you're going to do ahead of time and then deploy that plan. And if you don't know what you're going to do, stay out of the market. Truly stay out of the market. One of the quickest ways to lose money is starting to trade on emotion, starting to trade on FUD or FOMO. As soon as you do that, guys, you might as well just burn your money. So just either have a plan or stay out of the market until we have a nice strong reversal, and then enter the market once we have that strong reversal. Until then, guys, just be very, very careful. All right, that wraps up Bitcoin. Very quickly, looking at EOS. EOS is basically just following Bitcoin, only to a greater degree, as we've talked about many times. Last time we spoke, EOS was right here trying to break above this 211 resistance. It was support, started acting as resistance. I told you guys last time that that was an extremely bearish sign when the price came up. What was support, again, started acting as resistance. That was an extremely bearish sign, and I told you guys that very likely that we were going to come back down and at least test this $1.85 to $1.72 zone. That's exactly what's happened. Price is sitting right on top of that zone right now, currently just bouncing along at about right around $1.88 at the moment. So right on top of this support, guys. I'm again, this is following Bitcoin. I'm seeing absolutely no signs of EOS diverging from Bitcoin or going out on its own at all. So this is looking extremely bearish, again, in my opinion. If we do break below $1.72, as I showed you guys last time, we're going to be watching that very closely. In fact, let me just zoom out here to the weekly chart so you guys can see a little better. You can see, looking at $1.72, guys, between $1.72 and $1.25, there is just almost no support at all. So if we do break below $1.72, I think it'll be a very quick drop to very likely to $1.25. And again, this, in my opinion, is a very, very good area to start buying some EOS if you're looking to get in the market. Excuse me. It's not a bad idea to dollar cost average in now if you're looking for the long term. I remain very bullish on EOS, even though we've had some not so stellar news and comments from Dan. But that being said, guys, I do think that that EOS is still a very good project with a lot of promise, and I remain bullish on EOS long term. But in the short term, guys, things are not looking great. So if and when EOS breaks below $1.72, if that does happen, I think $1.25 is going to be its next stop, at least between $1.75, or excuse me, $1.25 and $1.10. And this, if it ever does get down here, this is where I will deploy most of the fiat that I have available to buy EOS between $1.25 and $1.10. Again, doesn't mean this isn't a decent area to maybe pick up a few and dollar cost average in, but this is the area that I'd be looking to go in heavy. It may not ever get down here. That's certainly possible that we never do get down here. In fact, I'm not even saying that it's probable that we will. It's not. I'm not. I'd say right about now it's about maybe 50-50 as to whether or not we get down to this zone. But if it ever does, guys, this is a very logical bottom in my opinion. There's just a lot of support between $1.25 and $1.10. So that's the area I'm watching if $1.72 does break down. To the upside, guys, we're going to be watching that $2.11 zone. If we are able to break above 211 with consolidation, in other words, not by a wick, but a solid break above 211, in other words, a 4-hour candle opening and closing above 211, then I'm going to start to reevaluate my analysis, and at least short term, I'll start to get a little more optimistic. But right now, guys, there's just nothing that points to any kind of optimism. Volume is low, the trend is low, and also just like Bitcoin, we had this very, very bearish descending resistance line that's been in place for quite some time that the price has just been unable to break above. So again, just no real bullish news at all, unfortunately, guys, but we will be watching and monitoring. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, would appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Until next time, guys, please trade safe, take care of yourselves. This is Working, signing out.